Today we are reviewing Popcorn Duel plus Spinner. It's a Sega Genesis project from the Alone in the Dark creator. There's a lot of mistakes, so I will show you what could be better and what are the main issues and what the creator can do to correct that. Let's have a look. So I will detail quickly the main issues on the campaign. So first, there is a video which is pretty nice, a really cool video, where it's showing the products, but when it's introduced, so we have Frédérick Raynal somewhere here, and in the few seconds he's saying, "Hi, I am Frédérick Raynal, creator of Alone in the Dark," and etc. And in the campaign, if you read, everything is at the third point of view, So it's Frédérick Raynal embodies blah blah blah. He have created. So this tone is not good, I think, because he's the creator of the campaign. He has his face everywhere. It seems to be a nice guy, but it's really written like a dictionary, like a biography. It's not really good to connect with the guy, connect with the project, even if the project is pretty cool. It's really nice. It's a nice little project. It's very interesting. So it's a bit, it's a missed opportunity there in terms of communication. Doesn't work a lot. We have an issue with the page itself. The title is Popcorn Duel plus Spinner, Sega Genesis, whatever. And we have a page which is divided into like the games and the spinner. But there is not a lot of information in both. There is more, more detail on the games and really less detail for the spinner. And they have the same, kind of importance inside of the campaign. So it's a bit weird, and everything is written at the third person. So this is an issue. The third issue is it's really lack of storytelling. It's really more like a sales pitch, I would say. It's a bit like synthetic, like there is no really feel, it's not super engaging with people. It's a bit too much like clean, and it's a bit sad. This is an issue for me, one of the main issue. And I think the third issue is also for the technical point of view of the spinner, for example. There is nothing, but I found an interview from a time extension with a lot of information, and those information, like the whole interview, kind of everything could be reused inside of the campaign, and it would be really much better. I will show you the interview in a few moments. So those were the main issues. So we will go more deep inside of the campaign. So I will just scroll into the campaign quickly to show you what's going on and what I feel is not good for that project. Again, it's a project in his name, Frédérick Raynal. So everything should be kind of customized to be more like him, or at least more like a one-person project and not something more like a corporate story and description, which is mostly like third-person point of view thing, which is a bit, cold, I would say. I think it's important to present the work of Frédérick Raynal, but it could be so much better if it would be written like, "Hi, I'm Frédérick Raynal. I've created Alone in the Dark and everything," and it would be really more friendly, friendly. That's the word to remember. Here, it's mostly like a Popcorn 1988 introduction. Then we have the controller, the spinner, and after we have another game, which is there. Would it be better to put them at the same place? For the spinner, again, it's really cold, the description. I should show you the interview right now from Time Extension. It's a really cool interview, and it gives so much detail about the project, about everything, in fact. So there are parts that have been squeezed and not put inside of the campaign. I don't know why. So there is like the genesis of the Popcorn 2026, which is maybe a bit sad. So maybe it's why it's not in the campaign, in fact, because it's a game which has been created for gamecoder.fr, which is a website to learn how to develop game. And Frédérick Raynal has been contacted to know if he have like some sort of old games that could fit, to some sort of C programming courses. And the game choose is Popcorn, but for like a port for Sega Genesis. And at some point, unfortunately, the game coder guy died late 2025. So it's really sad, and maybe it's why it's not inside of the campaign. Why the Popcorn 2026 has been created, because aside of that, there is also why Frédérick Raynal had the idea to make a spinner. Why he have created this controller, and also why he needed to make more of them, because at some point he have some friends which tested the game, the 2026 version, and also the spinners, and at some point they're asking to make spinner, and there are more people which asking for the spinner, so it's mostly like, hey, it's cool, we want one. So this should be inside of the campaign. It's not like, oh, I've created a game and I've created a spinner which go with it and that's cool. No, it's a bit more like this. It's more like more human as this. It's like, hey, there are some people which liked it, and I feel that I could do more because more people could be interested in that, and it's really cool. And this is not inside of the campaign. This is a huge issue. There is also like why he have made like a duel mode for the Popcorn Duel. It's the same, it's funnier to play with someone else, and it's also like a way to use the spinner with two people, and all of that is not inside of the campaign. It should be inside of the campaign, and it should be his voice telling how I made it at some point. I've created the spinner because I thought it would like the way, the same as the arcade way to play those kind of Pong or like a brick breaker game. And I've designed it because everything is written. You have created the 3D model of the controller. You have created the PCB. You have created everything himself. So it's really important to say that inside of the campaign, like, hey, I'm just the guy which have made everything. It's pretty cool. So I wanted a spinner, a controller. I've done it. I've done the PCB, everything myself. It's pretty cool. And that's the storytelling that should be inside of the campaign. And it's not there. It's really bland. It's really sad because it's cool. It's a cool project. And, the guy had some cool ideas and you have done them and people like it and you should like it. It's how the campaign should be. So again, there is like something I think is important, like the spinner. It's not just a random potentiometer inside. It's a whole effect potentiometer. So nowadays, all the new controller have Hall effect, like a stick and Hall effect potentiometer and whatever. That's really important to know for people, because all those old stuff, and we know like the Switch controller have a lot of drift, like the Switch One controller, for example. It will not be the case for this controller, and it's a Sega Genesis controller. It's really funny. But it's really cool because it's really the selling point. Like, hey, it's a controller with a Hall effect, and it's super precise. Everything is listed there. There is like 4,096 steps per turn. It's a lot. It's really precise. It's really surgical. So it should be inside of the campaign. Also, it used the Mega Drive mouse protocol. It could also work with other games, but there is no other game inside of the campaign, and maybe it haven't been tested with other games, but it should have been cool to test with other games, just to have, hey, and it's also compatible with those games, or could be compatible with a list of games. It's not the case there. So it just like text without any savior, it's just like there is no taste inside of that campaign. It's like, Also designed by Frédérick Raynal exclusively for the Genesis Mega Drive, the Popcorn Spinner is the essential accessory to maximize gameplay enjoyment, whether playing solo or with a friend. It's not a good sales pitch, you know. If it could be like, hey, I created it exclusive for the Sega Genesis, I've made the PCB myself, friends were asking spinners and everything, it would have been so much better. Really, really so much better. So now we also have like the game, which is 2 games included. It's pretty cool. I will go to the reward just after for you to show also the prices and maybe the issues. So there is no separation between the game and like the spinner, like the world project, and the rewards, because at some point here we have the rewards. So it would be better to have like rewards and like a description of the rewards here, but now we just have like the floppy disk with the initial game, like from 1988, and a photo, and you know it's signed and numbered by Frédérick Raynal, which is really cool. It's a nice collector stuff, really, really nice. It's really cool. And after we have like the super ultimate exclusive or whatever figurine with a display and where you can play on it 2 specific games. It's also like it could be like a separate Kickstarter, you know. This mascot, which is like the character of the popcorn game, it's there. It's kind of thrown there to describe what it is, but you know, it could be better, you know, and it could be a bit more like personal, or yeah, you know, it really lacks something. And after we have the box, and we don't know. Okay, it's the box. We don't know which reward it is. Well, when we will be in the reward section, you will understand what that box is. But it's like the box and no description. No, like the box include the 2 controller plus 1 game and whatever. And in fact, there is the box, but there is 2 different things. You know, so it's a bit empty. And after we have more picture on Instagram, Frédérick Raynal. No, it doesn't work like this. The more picture should be inside of your campaign. People should not click on the link to go on Instagram to check the image. All those images should be inside of your campaign. You know, everything should be inside of the campaign. It's good to put your Instagram account, for example. You can do that. Like, hey, if you want to know more about Frédérick Raynal or about me, because it should be me, you can check my Instagram. So more picture on Instagram, it's not really good. There should be everything there. And there it's the credits of the video. It's a bit odd to put that there. Maybe it could be in a little section somewhere, or put again the video somewhere with that under, but here it's kind of, it feels off, even if, you know, it's cool to know the people there, because I know Alex Pilote is pretty known in France. Everything is pretty interesting. It's pretty useless for the campaign, but I guess it's like a requirement for the video, because people have helped him to do the video, so can understand that. And risk and challenge, it's fairly, you know, easy, and it's just like the usual stuff, I would say. Now for the reward. Not a lot of reward, but what is kind of not shocking, but there is no digital stuff. So if you are a bit broke, or if you don't feel that you have to pay $60 on the physical game, well, you can't have the ROM. And nowadays, it's pretty, you know, okay to distribute the ROM of your game, because most of the people which want a physical edition would buy the physical edition. So in fact, you will not miss a lot of sale. I know what I'm talking about, because I'm the chief marketing officer at Incubate Games. We are selling Game Boy games, Game Boy Color and Game Boy Advance game, and we also have digital. So it would be better to have a digital format, you know, at, I don't know, 10 euros. For example, I know the campaign is for the spinner and the physical edition, but it's a bit more money that you could have. So $60, it's a normal price for a physical game. The game plus the spinner is 120 euros. I feel it's a lot. So I don't know if the price of the spinner is really that expensive, but for the short production run that it could be, maybe the production could be cheaper. In the campaign, there is in the risk and challenge a notion of the manufacturing partner for mass production, and there is a controller casing with production process and whatever. I feel like due to its lower quantity, it would be good to just keep it as 3D printed. Maybe it's the case, but I feel it's too much, $60 for the controller and the game. So the developer relic one, it's pretty cool. Like the floppy disk itself could be a nice add-on, for example. They are limited. Well, those ones are not limited for this reward. So it could be a nice add-on, really, just the floppy disk. Because if you just want the game and the floppy disk, you could just buy it. Because now the floppy disk is only with like the spinner, so it really bumped the price. So maybe you could just sell the floppy disk as an add-on. So it's maybe a missed opportunity there. And the price for 2 spinner, it's really a lot, like 200 euros. Maybe it's me. So, and it's also like the game plus 1 spinner, it's 120 euros. So if you add the price of the spinner, it's 180 euros, but no, in fact, it's 200 euros. Maybe just to alleviate the shipping price. I don't know. But it's few old. The other one is just 2 spinner and the relic 2, which is a number, I think. I think it's numbered, or maybe it's not limited, or those ones are limited because they have the little figurine, which is cool, but still, all the tests I've seen in his Facebook, all those figurines are 3D printed. So I'm like 170 euros just for the figurines, which is a lot for 3D printing figurines. Well, you need to do 100 of them, so it's a lot. It's really a lot to make, and I feel he will do them himself, or at least the prototyping will be done by himself, but maybe it will be mass produced somewhere else. Like, I don't know, like PCBWays or website like this can do those kind of product. And the big one with the really tall figurine, well, it's pretty expensive. There's only 10. Why not? What I feel is a missed opportunity is like the early bird was limited to 50 backers. Usually the early birds are there to have you reach the goal as soon as possible. The early bird should cover your goal. So when I see like there's only 50 and it's 100 euros, so it's like 5,000 euros over a goal of 60, I think. It's not even 10% of your goal. It's an issue. So it should be 100% of your goal. Maybe you should have put like more, well, I say you because I'm talking kind of to the creator if you can see this video. But it's an issue with a lot of Kickstarter. Also, I can see that there's a little bit of backers, but I feel it has been created in like not a kind of emergency, but it wasn't too much communicated. I've seen in his Facebook page there is like four or five mention of the project, and that's it. It's not a lot. And I've checked with YouTube. There is like 2-3 videos. It's not a lot. So I'm fairly sure there has been not a lot of communication on that campaign, which is also a big mistake. Hopefully, Frédérick Raynal is fairly known, and it's easier for him to communicate with people to say, I have a project, talk about it, and it's a good project. So the word of mouth could be really powerful. But we can see that it's been 3 days now that the campaign is live. You have been a fairly good amount of money. It's almost half of the goal. So I think it will be, hit the goal, but not that soon. The goal of a Kickstarter campaign is to get your goal the first day, which is not the case obviously now. I think he will have his goal maybe like in 15, 20 days. I hope there will be more influencers and YouTubers and people talking about the project, because I feel it's interesting and the guy is known, so it would really help. So also we don't have any update. Well, we got an update during my edit, so I'm half flying, so there is an update right now um, on April Fools, but I think it's a real update, so that's pretty cool. And yep, let's get back to the video. It should be good to have like an update at least now to say, hey, we are almost at 50%. Thank you for your support, and you know s- this little speech to be really nice. And also, it's not too late to update the page. Really, really not too late. Everything could be modified, or the full page could be rebranded and the text updated, and that's okay. And even if you have like stretch goal, which is not the case right now, you can put them at the top. Um, there is a lot of thing missing, so it's a bit an issue and a missed opportunity. Also, um, he's talking a lot of old games and everything, but he have recently made a game for the Playdate, which is the console with the crank. I think I don't know if it was last year, no, 2023. So it's fairly recent, and maybe it could also be mentioned somewhere there, just to add a little bit more of novelty, and not just talking about like a game which is like 30 years ago. Well, I'm not talking about the 2026 version, but just to add a bit more like, hey, I'm still part of the community. That would be really, really cool. So as we have seen, there's a lot of big issue there. The third person point of view. There is like a lack of storytelling. There is a lack of detail inside of the specs of the spinner, for example. Also, why he have done the Genesis version of his game, which is it's pretty cool. There is also like why the spinner, explaining that his friends want one, and a lot of people, have tested with the spinner, and they were whole like asking for one. Everything could be really so much better. So you have to remember that when you are doing a campaign, especially if you are alone, well, at least there, Frédérick Raynal is making a campaign in his own name. So we better with a hi, hi, I'm doing the campaign to do this, to do that. I have done that. Make it more personal, just for people to, to be more involved and want to help you. So also, don't hesitate to explain the why you have done that stuff, why you have choose the way you have done the thing. So it's really important to make people involved, and to have them understand your project. That's the one of the issue there. And also, it's not because you are famous that you can make your campaign in a like biography mode and stuff like it it could be a turn off for some people, especially for non well, it's a French project, but so people who don't know you and your project, it would be like it could be misunderstood, and you could be the guy which is he's talking at the third person point of view. He's Monsieur Frédérick Raynal, you can't deal with it, which is might not be the case. And the guy, it's probably super nice guy. So it's really a missed opportunity there. Be careful with that if you are pretty known, to make something more lively and more friendly, which is not the case there, and that's a bit sad. Quick ad for myself: if you are a solo developer or someone which have a project and need some help for your Kickstarter, I have a form on my website, which is at crowdfunding.ninja. So I have a form there. Send me a message and I will help you as much as I can. If you like this video, please like and subscribe, leave comments. I will answer them. I'm making a video a week. Have a look and I will see you next time. So next week. Bye bye.